Hi, Joe here from Scarff Ford. We're going to talk about one of the greatest EVs that you might never have heard of. We're going to talk about this 2024 Polestar 2 dual motor, long range. Let's dive in. I'm a big fan of EVs. I own two myself. And the Polestar brand has flown a little bit under the radar, overshadowed by Tesla. Obviously, Tesla's kind of a juggernaut in the EV space. The Model Y being the best-selling vehicle in the world for 2023 and 2024. But not everyone wants a Tesla. If you're gonna spend a good chunk of change on a vehicle, maybe you don't want every other vehicle on the road to be the same as yours. And that's the thing with Teslas, as great as they are, you see them all over the place. They're almost like Toyota Camrys or Toyota Priuses, as how numerous they are. The Polestar, not the case. And maybe you're not a fan of Elon. Not everyone is. So if you don't like Elon, this is a great alternative. I've bought and sold many of these Polestars. They're very robust, they're very well built, they have their own unique styling. So Polestar is a spin-off of the Volvo brand. Previously, Polestar moniker was applied to the performance versions of Volvo products, kind of like BMW applies M to their performance vehicles or Mercedes AMG. That's basically what Polestar was. But more recently, it has been spun off to its complete own EV brand. And I guess that Polestar is a good idea for an EV brand because generally EVs are wonderful performers, including this. This makes over 400 horsepower, so it's definitely a performance vehicle. Yet it still kind of maintains that Volvo-like styling. You could easily mistake it for a Volvo because technically it still is in a certain way. It still has a lot of Volvo DNA. It shares its EV platform of Volvo EVs. And it kind of sets itself apart. It's distinctive than all the other vehicles on the road. You can tell it's something a little bit different, as an understated Scandinavian styling we've seen in the Volvo brand for decades and decades. The Polestar 2 kind of blurs categories. Is it a sedan? Is it a crossover SUV? Well, it's a little bit of both. I kind of equate it to being almost like a split between, somewhere in between. I equate it to be almost like a Model 3 and a Model Y mixed together in a blender. So we have a frunk here. Since there's no engine, we have, man, that train is loud. Between the airport and the trains, it's hard to make videos here. But we'll do the best we can. We have a frunk, since there's no engine here, so you have extra cargo space. It's also a safety feature. You have all this space to absorb cross energy in a frontal collision. So you have a crumple zone that's 60% larger than on a conventional vehicle with an engine in the front. So you don't have a big cast iron block or aluminum block to get pushed inside the engine compartment in frontal collisions. Safety has always been an important part of Volvo's branding, as well as Polestar's, and the EV construction, not having an engine up there, further adds to its safety. Also, the weight of the battery being so low in the vehicle, that gives it a very low center of gravity, so it reduces the rollover risk, and it improves the handling. It's like a keel, it's like an anchor keeping this thing pinned to the ground. This has a fully charged range of about 240 miles, give or take, temperature, the way you drive, highway, around the town. You have a motor in the front, motor in the back. You can't get these with a single motor, which is front-wheel drive. This is the dual motors. So you have a combined output of like 400 horsepower. It's like having two engines. And electric motors, they don't need to rev to their power band. The transmission doesn't need to hunt for a gear. You have instantaneous throttle response. It's like a slot car. It's like an RC car. It just takes right off, 400 horsepower. You're zooming along. This thing is an absolute riot to drive. And it's also very low maintenance. You're gonna have very low ownership costs. This thing at an MSRP of over $60,000 when it was brand new. But this slightly used 2024 example, you can find these in the market for under $40,000, sometimes a little over $30,000, depending on the options and features. Unfortunately, vehicles depreciate, but on the pre-owned end, we can take advantage of that depreciation. When you drive a new car off the lot, guess what? It became used, and it took its biggest initial hit in depreciation. And if you want to save the planet, you're concerned about the environment and using precious resources to make batteries and EV parts and car parts. Well, guess what? You know what the #1 recycled item in the world is? It's cars. When you buy a used car, you're not stressing the world out by having to take additional resources from planet Earth and all that stuff, cobalt mines, because you're recycling a used car. So it's a twofer. You're saving the planet because you're driving an EV, and you're saving the planet because you're recycling a car. They don't need to produce a brand new car. The Polestar 2 has a sedan profile, but when we hit the trunk open button here, we see it's not a trunk, it's a liftback, which is a lot more practical and functional. You have a lot bigger opening, take stuff out and put stuff in, and you can remove this cargo area cover, fold down those seats, turning it into like a cargo van. very versatile. But we're not done yet. If we lift this up here, we have a sub trunk that's very large. So since we don't have a gas tank and exhaust system, you have additional cargo space. Nice spacious interior, rubber floor mats, rear heated seats, big glass roof panels will allow lots of natural light inside. Nice comfortable contoured seats. Love the styling of a nice thick rimmed leather wrapped steering wheel. It feels wonderful in your hands, completely digital gauge cluster. This one only has 12,735 miles. So this has the Plus package and it has the Pilot package. Two important packages. It's kind of hard to differentiate which options they have on these. Sometimes if you look in the Carfax report, if you have one available on these Polestars, you can find a link to the original window sticker on the Carfax report, so that will help you figure out what you're looking at. The Pilot package and the Plus package are very in demand because it gets some nice features, safety features, and creature comforts. For one, you get a heat pump. The heat pump is very important when you're operating the EV in below freezing or close to freezing temperatures, because EVs, they kind of lose their efficiency in colder weather. Things tend to slow down in the cold, including the chemical reactions that happen in batteries. So having that heat pump just makes things more efficient, like a heat pump in your house. A wonderful dividend of having an internal combustion engine is that you can use the heat from that internal combustion engine to heat the interior without reducing efficiency. Not the case with an EV. Despite how efficient they are, you're going to have to take energy from the high voltage battery to heat the cabin in colder weather. A lot of times too, in colder weather, they'll also need to heat the battery to keep the battery warm, because if the battery gets too cold, it can really reduce the efficiency. That heat pump is definitely welcome for a lot of people. We have a Harman Kardon audio system. We have nice foot lamps. Kind of hard to see right now, but with the lights off, we can see that we have that nice footwell lighting. We also have interior ambient lighting, which is very nice. And we also have puddle lights. So if there's a puddle, you're not gonna step in it. We also have lots of driver's assistance. We have adaptive cruise control. We have lane keeping assist, which is very important, and that comes with the Pilot package. Also, the big glass roof panel also comes with a Plus package. Well, thanks so much for joining me on this walk-around video of this 2024 Polestar 2 all-wheel drive. We always have a great selection of EVs. Right now, we have 2 Polestars as we're making this video, like 10 Teslas. Of course, we have our own products, the Mach-E's, the Lightnings, the E-Transits, Chevy Bolts, Porsche EVs. We have a Lucid EV, Rivians. We love gas cars. We love all sorts of vehicles at Scarff Ford, but we also know that a lot of people like EVs, especially here in the Pacific Northwest. So we keep a great selection of new and pre-owned ones in stock. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.